Good morning, everybody. It's wee Paddy from across the shock, and you're very welcome to this video. And this is a really exciting video for me. And it was made possible by a company in Europe who took a chance on our wee channel. And when I say our wee channel, I really do mean this is just not, a paddy knife. This is a knife for our channel to see. This is a Grail knife to most people and a very expensive knife to others. So, I mean, I'm not going to make any pretense that this is a knife that everybody can afford or everybody's going to get. But sometimes it's nice to see a Grail knife and to give me the chance to have this knife, to show this knife, to use this knife. And unlike a lot of reviewers, I don't get my knife in. I have it for 3 or 4 days and then I sell it on. I keep these knives and use them. So I have used this constantly for about 2 weeks. I've carried it. I know how it carries. I know everything about it. I've cut with it, and I've cut things like carpet and wood. I've done things that most people will never do to a Grail knife or a very expensive knife. So for that, I really do like to thank Polish Custom Knives, a European company that stepped above the parapet and give us a chance to see what they have. Now, this is just one. They sell brands of knives for a lot of different European, but especially Polish dealers on their website. There's the details for it. I'll have it down below, a link going straight to them. But go and see them and see what they have. Sometimes, like me, I fantasized. I always fantasized. And I like looking at Nick Shabazz's channel. Now, he does a mix of knives, but he does really expensive ones as well. I love seeing what's out there. Most of them I'll never get to handle or never get to touch. But he has reviewed this knife. Now, it was a couple of years ago, and this knife is one of those. It's been continually improved and updated as Herman knives have got better. They have improved their knives and they fixed some of the tiny flaws that would have been in Nick's review. And I'll touch on some of them as I'm going along. Now, the one thing this is not going to be is me taking this knife apart and looking all at the insides. I don't do that unless there's something wrong with the knife. If the action's good, and let me just show you, listen to that. And there's no pressure to do that. Look at that. I mean, I have never had a knife that has an action like that. It is absolutely stunning. So you can tell by my voice, I like this. And like, you couldn't not like it. That's about where I am. But I do want to go through an in-depth review to pay tribute to Herman Knives, who made this beautiful piece, but especially the Polish Custom Knives who stepped up above and sent the knife to me for review. For that, I'll be ever truly grateful. I'll put a link down below that'll take you straight to them. Now, what do you get with a £600 knife? That's what it costs. And let me tell you, this is a one-man band that's making this knife, doing the CNC, fitting it together, doing the whole lot. So, is it worth £600? Do you want to know the honest answer is? It is if you want it. And I would want this, so it's worth £600. If you don't like it or you don't want it or you think that's a silly price to pay for a knife, that's life. We're all different. So I'm not going to try and convince people to buy this. What I'm going to do is highlight what you're going to get for that sort of money, which I think is, I think it's really reasonable. So there we go. I never thought I'd hear myself saying them words with a £600 knife, but that shows you how much you grow. This is 4 years of doing this channel, and I've got better knives over this last 4 years. And you do. And you pick them up and you save a bit more and you get a bit more. But there we go. Let's go. What do you get? You get this lovely pouch, or patch, I should say. Beautifully cloth, embroidered, proper Velcro pouch. It is absolutely lovely. You get your card of authenticity. Look at that. Your wee, I can't remember what you call them wee things at the top, the wee shiny silver things. But Sally's over there. What are they? What do they call that? Oh, you don't know either. Can't get it. So there we go. You get your authenticity, your date of birth and all that, which is lovely. Really nice. What else do you get? You get this. The Polish Custom Knives pouch, which is a beautifully made pouch. Herman Knives, and that's who make the knife themselves. And inside you get this beautiful, oh, it's all covered in fluff, excuse me. Beautiful carrying pouch, really thick and secure. Now, a couple of little extra bits that you probably don't get with a lot. This is a custom pivot. But you get the tool. They send you the tool to take it apart, which is lovely. There's your little tool there to take it apart. Um, is that Would that affect me? No, that wouldn't. I couldn't care less. As long as I can get into it, I don't care. Whatever screwdriver I've got. As long as I've got it, I don't mind. You also get this. I nearly threw this away. Can you see on the bottom here? Oh, I'm trying to get that to you. Oh, there you go. You can see them now. You get a half a dozen little bearings for the inside. It runs on a double row bearing system, which is just so smooth, it's unbelievable. But if you were to take it apart, and I know through Nicks, sometimes the odd wee bearing will pop out. And what they're doing is give you half a dozen just in case you lose one when you're dismantling. But if I was going to do that, I would be on a mat and hopefully I wouldn't lose it anyway. But they are small and it's double row. It just, well, you've seen the action. This action, just honestly, I can't stop doing this. Listen to that detent. It is so perfect that it takes no effort at all. So, well, let's open up the knife and I'll just go through it slowly. Let's do a measurement and let you see how big this knife is. Okay, from tip to tail, it is about 7 3/4. The blade length, is about 3.5 inches when you've got a cutting edge of just over 3 1/4. So it's a really good size knife. Really good size knife. And I'm going to give you a weight. I'm going to get through this because sometimes, I don't do this mostly now, but I believe this knife just needs, really does warrant seeing everything about it. There we go. And ounces, it is 3.6 ounces for a solid titanium knife with a 3.5 inch blade. To me, that is absolutely, now it's skeletonized inside, but 3.5 ounces, absolutely perfect. My answer to you is if that's too heavy for you, you really do want another hobby. 104 grams. So there we go. Doesn't weigh much at all. Now, the blade stock thickness is, let me just get this. I've got the batteries for this again, thank goodness. Millimeters. Let's try it in millimeters first. It is about 3.3 millimeters across the back. And that is, oh, let me just get this changed. Where do I change this to? Oh, there we go. Inches. What's that in inches? There we go. 0.13 inches. So it's sturdy enough. It comes down to a nice point. It's a full flat ground, but let me tell you, it says full flat, but it is so thin behind the edge. This, I can honestly, look at that lovely, has his name engraved on there, Herman. Isn't that just beautiful? That is just, there's nothing on the other side, only M390, which is your blade steel, which is top of the range. You don't need any more than that for look, I've been EDC in this knife. And I know a lot of people wouldn't be doing that, but I wanted to see, was this knife good enough to do it, or was it just a showpiece? And honestly, it's an amazing knife for an EDC, and I will be carrying this and doing reviews on this along the way over the next year, where I'll just tell you what it's been cutting, how it's doing, how it's holding up, how it sharpens. I know for a fact that after I cut carpet and wood, it didn't even go blunt. I never got it to go blunt at all, and I've been using it, but I stropped it, and it strops just amazing to just a hair-popping sharpness. It is beautiful, with no effort whatsoever to sharpen it or to strop it. So I haven't done a full sharpening on it. Whenever I do need to do a full sharpening, I'll do that with you, and I'll do a live full sharpening. I'll probably reprofile it on the Lansky system, but it is really thin behind the edge. Really thin. Long, deep blade. I love it. I just love it. Excuse me. What I will also do is afterwards, I have a little video. It's about 9 minutes long, and I've done it separately because I don't want to make this video huge. But what it is me cutting some carpet up. Now, I was fitting the bedroom out in the caravans, cutting squares to go around the bedroom. But I just cut one square and let it see what it was like cutting through carpet. And this was hardback carpet that you don't put an underfelt to. So it's really, you will not believe, even what you can tell by my voice from the first cut that I used it on. It's just unbelievable. And cut smooth, nothing. This blade coating is, it's tumbled. It is just beautiful. It is so soft to touch. And I know it's metal, but it is soft and smooth to touch. It will have no friction going through it. It goes through cardboard like it's not even there. It is beautiful. So I've done a wee bit of cutting the carpet, cutting a bit of wood, just to let you see what it's like to cut with it. And I just find it amazing. So I'll put that up, and you can have a look at it if you want or you don't want, and that's the choice. So what other knives? Oh, let me have it. Let's have a walk around the knife. This is the custom pivot, which I actually love. I think it's lovely. The flow through, it's a liner lock. It is perfectly right on fully. You can get through here easily. It just pushes off so easily. You have a detent, and then just listen to that. That is just so good. I could do that all day long. It just, in fact, I have been. My wife doesn't like this knife. The flipper is fine. I know Nick said it was a bit pointy. I haven't really found that myself, in use, and I've been using it a lot. I've never had a sore finger yet. It's got the floating backspacer. When Nick done the review, these were little tiny, nearly like washers. It's been improved, and he's got better standoffs in that now. The screw right the way through, and they come out on the screws from the backside, and they come out. That's the screws there. They're domed at the end, and it just looks classy. Excuse me. It looks classy. They're domed. I hope you can see that. Beautifully done and polished screws. Obviously, he's doing them himself. But the pocket clip is long, slender, great retention, but it's long enough that it holds in your pocket and you're never worried. Screwed in from the outside. But if I can show you the detail, underneath the pocket clip, you can see the screws to take it apart. But underneath it, I don't know whether we're going to get this. Let me just get a wee light on here. I'll let you see. Underneath there, it's milled. There you are, you can see that now. Now, it's not as heavily, as deeply milled as here, but it's milled all the way along. Underneath here, it is milled as well. I'm trying to get this, not get great light. Can't really see that, but it's milled just gently all the way along, and it's just the tiniest wee points that just make this so special. Completely shiny at the back here. Look at that, the back of the pivot. Isn't it? It looks so clean. And this anodization, you wouldn't believe, that's been in my pocket. It's not been a pouch. There's not a scratch on it. That's been in and out of my pocket. There is maybe the slightest, well, to be honest with you, I can't really. I'm trying to think of something negative, and there's nothing. There's not even a mark. Look at the, that is honestly, for 2 weeks now, that's been in and out of my pocket. And it's just not budged. There's nothing, there's no scrapes. I leave it down on my table, and it's a wooden table by my chair. I pick it up, I set it down, I'm flicking it all day long. Nothing. It hasn't marked at all. So obviously the anodization is super high class. And that's everything about this knife is super high class. And that's it. The feel of it in your hand. Now, I'm going to give you the two things that I find not bad. It's just what the knife is. Because it's titanium and it's anodized and it's ribbed, the grip is fine when your hands are dry. When you get a bit sweaty, it is a wee bit slippy. Now, not dangerously slippy because you have that garter. You're not going to go in it, but you can feel your hand moving in it. If I was to do it for, a long period of very hard cutting, which I will be doing with this, I'll put a pair of gloves on. Simply because it just gets a wee bit slippy. But for an EDC knife, you're not doing that extended time. Absolutely fine. Not a problem. That's the first nitpick. The second nitpick. This is one that Nick picked up on when he done his review. The back here is just a bit sticky in the back of your hand when you're opening the knife. You're putting the knife down there, obviously. It is quite sharp. I would love this end bit to be ever so slightly more rounded off. Now, I don't mean a huge adjustment. I just think if that was ever so slightly rounded off, I don't think it would affect the aesthetics of the knife, but it would make it much more comfortable in the hand. If, like a lot of us, you're a fidgeter, it irritates you after a while, I have to say, because you're only getting this corner and it sort of pokes in. There's no lanyard hole in this, neither should there be, because you wouldn't want to ruin that face. You wouldn't want to ruin that. That just would ruin it if it was on there. I just think, fit, finish, like even this little floating backspacer, You can see the little arrow point where it comes up there, and it's so lovely ground. It's not just cut off, it goes a little bit forward. It's just beautiful. Now, what I want to show you is the inside of this knife, because normally people show their knives and they're all nice and clean. Look at that's the cutouts in the back to lighten the knife, and it's on both sides, deep cutouts, and that's why it keeps it at 3.6. But I have not cleaned this knife. You can see the pocket lint that's in there. I didn't clean it on purpose because I wanted to just let you see I have used this and I haven't so much as cleaned it whatsoever. I never took it apart. The only thing I'd done to this knife was put one tiny drop of oil pivot lube on one side, on the other, and that's it. And it is just amazing. When Nick got his, I think it was grease being used, but it obviously isn't now because that is beautiful. There's no gunk, anything come out when I put the pivot oil in, because normally if it's dirty inside, you'll get the gunk coming out. Nothing, completely clear. So the knife was just amazing when it came to me. That cutting blade, I believe, is one of the best on the market out there. I like a drop point anyway, but it's got enough that you've got that. It's just a gently curving belly right the way up with a little drop point. It is rounded over on the, not rounded over, but it's chamfered up along the top edge of the blade. Extremely comfortable. There's no need for jimping. If you like jimping, I suppose you could put it on yourself, but there's no need for it. It's absolutely perfect. And you're close enough to the blade here where you don't need a forward choil. So you're getting all that cutting edge. It's 3.25 inches of cutting edge. You're never going to need more than that for your daily tasks, in my opinion. So the knife, if that's all I can find wrong, there's nothing wrong with this knife. If that's an aesthetic thing that the maker wants to keep on it, it wouldn't stop me buying this knife, but it would make it easier for somebody like myself who is using it as an EDC knife. That can get irritating if you're taking it out and doing it quite a lot. So that's it. I have no other complaint. Not one. The blade grind was perfect, even on both sides. Sharp as a razor. It was like a mirror polish. And after I stropped it, it just gleamed. And it was just a quick stropping, and you could see the difference. It gleamed. The M390, I believe, is done. The heat treat is really good. With most custom knives, the heat treat's going to be good because they know what they're doing. So, in conclusion, would I recommend this knife? Absolutely 100%. If you can convince your wife she wants to buy you this for Christmas, get her to buy you this for Christmas. There's 5% off if you use Paddy's name. Just use Paddy's name when you're doing the order and say, Paddy's Potato Peeler sent you. Put Paddy's and you'll get 5% off this knife, which is a lot of money when it's a £600 knife. So that's very nice, and I thank Polish Custom Knives for that. I really appreciate it. I'll put these details down below for you. I'm going to do some comparisons, and I'm just going to use my posh knives just because I like showing them off. Here is my Medford Slim Midi Marauder. Exactly the same size. Even, the blade on this is a real deep blade. It's a hollow grind. This is a better cutting blade. This is what I would use for hard work. And I already have a place for this. I mean, I carry this and I use this for hard work, as I would do from now on. This is my slicing knife. If I want to cut cardboard, or if I want to do, a lot off, this is the knife I will go for and I will use without a shadow of a doubt. Here's my other little EDC beater. And I know that sounds silly, but it's a Chris Reeves. It's the small Mini and Cozy. Small and Cozy. It is just my little beater knife. It really is. I can show you. It's a real beater knife. I love using it as a small beater knife, but this is the larger version. And this is going to get used as much as this. So that's a size comparison. That's what you're going to do. The only other knife that I'll put it up against in my collection that's nowhere near that price, but it's another beautiful knife. And I'm just trying to let you see the size. This is the XM18 3-inch, and there's the size difference in that. So it's a good size work knife. It's a good size. It's so easy in the pocket. That pocket clip is just outstanding. No fault at all with that whatsoever. So yes, it's going to be used like all my high-end knives. I use mine because, yes, I'm a collector, but I suppose when I can't financially go out and buy a stack of these knives. So when I get the really good high end ones, to me it would just be pointless leaving them sitting in a drawer. It would just be pointless. I'd just be doing it for the channel and I'd just be reviewing something that I'm not going to use. I've used all of those. I've videos on me using them. I've videos on the Medford where I cut up. And the reason I went for carpet was I'd done that with the Medford and found it brilliant. That was so much better than the Medford. Unbelievably so. It really was. The Medford's my great beater. But if you want to cut up carpet and you want to use a £600 knife, I recommend this one. But look, it's a custom knife. It's a Grail knife. It's a knife that a lot of people only get to look at. And I understand that. I understand that. But I wanted to know, is this a custom knife that is a knife? Can it be used? Can it be abused? Will it take it? This knife has taken it. It's taken everything I've put to it. And I'm not going to get more hard than that, but I will use it a lot as an EDC knife, as a bigger EDC knife with a small pocket knife. Definitely, without a doubt. So, in conclusion, again, this is a second conclusion, but look, if you get a chance, I'll just honestly recommend it. I know a lot of you are not going to, and I'm not doing that to tease you or be sort of, I got this for nothing, so I'm able to use it and abuse it and let you know that it can do that work. If you want to buy this as a pretty knife, I don't think you're going to get much prettier. I genuinely don't think you're going to get much prettier. It is just a good, it's not got Damascus and things like that. That's not me. I wouldn't be that sort of a knife collector. But it is a beautiful knife, beautifully made. The action is amazing. The blade grind and the ergonomics, the ergonomics, the ergos of the knife are just great. So there you go, custom Polish knives, Herman knives. Herman knives, I congratulate you. You've made a beautiful knife. And I know that over the years that you've been doing this particular model, which is the Sting57, you have improved and added to it. Let me tell you, it's nearly faultless. Just fix that wee bit there. All right, look, I'm going to go. Thank you so much, the Polish Custom Knives. Can't thank you enough for you listening. I know this has gone on 22 minutes. I'm sorry, but this is not a knife I was going to rush. It's not, and you're going to see a lot more of it over this next year, especially where I'm going to use it and show you the proof of it and how the knife holds up, how the handle holds up, how the blade holds up, how it sharpens. I'll do a full sharpening on it. So, plenty more to come on this knife. Wee Paddy is dry as a bone. I need a cup of tea. I'm away. Thank you so much for watching. There'll be another wee video up later on this evening, or maybe do it tomorrow with a cutting task. It's about 9 minutes long. You don't have to watch it all, but it'll just let you see. Watch it going through the carpet. It stunned me. All right. Bye-bye, folks. Bye now.